Stress is an alarm system that's wired into our biology. It's triggered when we feel pressured, fearful, or uncertain about something. At its core, this alarm system is controlled by the brain structure called the amygdala, which uses chemical messengers or neurotransmitters to activate other parts of the brain and body to initiate the stress response. And these stress hormones include adrenaline and cortisol. Here's the science of stress and why knowing this helps you beat it. Number 2, the brain stress circuit. When the hypothalamus sends out signals to your body to get ready for action, this activates the fight or flight response. Adrenaline increases your heartbeat and breathing rate so you're more alert. Cortisol tells your body to stay ready for whatever threat is out there, whether real or imagined. This biological stress response is amazing because it protects you. But like all things in life, balance is key. 3. What stress does to you. Short-term, stress can actually boost your performance. This is called acute stress. Maybe you have a paper due tomorrow or you're waiting to hear back from a job interview. Acute stress can help you focus and get things done. However, when the stressor persists for a long time, this is called chronic stress. Chronic stress can weaken your immune system, drain your energy, cause anxiety and disturb your sleep. It also can cause you to lose your memory. You know how sometimes you can't remember if you sent that important email or how you can't focus on your work because your mind is preoccupied. Number 4, modern stress triggers. We can blame stress on modern life. Our world is full of stressors. Many of them come from our own minds. Here are some common ones. First, overthinking the future. We can get anxious by imagining worst-case scenarios that may never happen. Second, fearing the unknown. Not knowing what's ahead can be scary. Sometimes this comes up when we're planning for retirement or making a major career change. Third, regretting the past. We waste energy by beating ourselves up over mistakes we've made or things we wish we'd done differently. Fourth, being unable to let go of painful memories. Holding on to past hurts or traumas can keep us stuck. Fifth, forgetting God's guidance. When we ignore or reject God's word, we disconnect ourselves from His peace and become prone to stress. If we forget God's promises or stop praying for help, we may feel stressed and helpless. Sixth, overload of tasks. Multitasking is often glorified, but it overwhelms the human brain. Studies show that constantly switching between tasks reduces our ability to focus, causing decreased productivity and increased errors. Also, if you're trying to meet unrealistic expectations at work or home, you might feel overwhelmed and stressed. Seventh, constant noise and pressure. Technology, looming deadlines, and comparing ourselves to others can add to our stress levels. In fact, research shows that noise raises blood pressure and stress hormones. Number 5, the hidden cost of chronic stress. Chronic stress takes a heavy toll on our lives. It can lead to emotional burnout, spiritual exhaustion, and disconnection from our purpose. Chronic stress also causes physical illness, makes us less likely to take care of ourselves, impairs our decision-making abilities, decreases motivation, and leaves us feeling drained. Number 6, how to beat stress. Now that you know the science of stress, here are 6 practical tips based on both science and spiritual wisdom to help you manage it. Number 1, exercise and deep breathing. Exercise releases endorphins, which have mood-boosting effects. It also helps clear the body's stress hormones. A study published in the Journal of Psychiatric Research found that exercise is just as effective as medication in treating mild to moderate depression. Another study published in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine found that deep breathing exercises can reduce stress and anxiety levels. Number 2, one task at a time. Trying to do too much at once overwhelms our brains. Multitasking isn't how we're wired. Studies show that multitasking decreases our focus and increases errors. So instead of stressing ourselves out by trying to do too much at once, let's focus on doing one thing at a time. 3, gratitude practice. Focusing on what we're grateful for shifts our attention away from what's wrong. Research shows that people who practice gratitude regularly have better mental health and well-being. One study published in the journal Emotion found that gratitude journaling improves mental health and life satisfaction. 4, faith and prayer. Connecting with God through prayer and His Word brings peace and strength. In Psalm 46, verse 1, it says, "God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble." This promise reminds us that God is always there for us when we face challenges. 5. Talk or write. Carrying stress silently adds to our burden. Releasing stress through talking or writing can be incredibly helpful. In fact, studies show that talking about stressful experiences can help process emotions and reduce their intensity. No. 6. Live in the present. Life happens one day at a time. We can't change the past, and worrying about the future won't help either. Instead, let's focus on the present moment. Let's savor the joy of each day. Number 7. A new perspective on stress. Here are some truths to see stress in a new light. No. 1. Stress does not solve the problem. It just adds another one. Often when we face challenges, our first instinct is to tackle them head-on. But when we approach problems with a stress mindset, we introduce additional complications. Our decision-making abilities become clouded by heightened emotions, and we might end up making choices that escalate the situation rather than finding a resolution. Additionally, stress can impair our problem-solving skills and make it harder to think clearly and creatively. Instead of allowing stress to drive our actions, it's important to take a step back, calm down, and analyze the situation objectively. By doing so, we can develop more effective strategies to address the problem at hand and find a lasting solution. No. 2. Surrendering to God doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting His plan. In Isaiah 58:8, God says, "My people say they want to humble themselves, so they try to please me with meaningless religious rituals. They ask, why should they bother with all this? They keep asking me for instructions, but they won't listen to my voice." These verses remind us that true humility comes from acknowledging our limitations and trusting in God's wisdom and power. It's easy to feel like we need to have everything under control and figure it all out on our own. But when we surrender to God, we release that burden and allow Him to guide and support us on our journey. No. 3. What happened in your past wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Sometimes we dwell on past experiences that we perceive as negative or harmful. But what if we shift our perspective and view these events as opportunities for growth and preparation? In Romans 8:28, it says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." This verse reminds us that God has a plan for our lives and that He can use even our past experiences to shape us into the people He wants us to be. Instead of focusing on the pain or injustice of the past, let's choose to see it as preparation for the amazing future that awaits us. No. 4. Your future is unknown to you, but not to the one who created you. In Isaiah 46:10, it says, "My plans will stand firm and I will do all my good pleasure." This verse assures us that God has a purpose and plans for our lives. Despite the uncertainty we may feel about the future, we can trust that God's plans for us are good and beneficial. Instead of worrying about what lies ahead, let's choose to believe in God's guidance and embrace the journey with faith. No. 8. Final wisdom. Don't carry what God already offered to hold. Do your best, let go of the rest. This quote encourages us to relinquish our burdens to God, recognizing His willingness and ability to carry us through difficult times. By surrendering our worries and fears, we free ourselves from the unnecessary stress and emotional strain they cause. Moreover, the quote reminds us that we have the power to choose what we focus on. Instead of dwelling on our limitations, let's concentrate on our strengths and potential. We have the capacity to accomplish great things. And by embracing this truth, we can tap into our inner strength and resilience. Finally, this quote serves as a gentle encouragement to trust in God's plan and timing. When we surrender our burdens to Him, we acknowledge that we may not always understand His ways, but we can have faith in His wisdom and goodness. It reminds us that there is a divine order and that even in times of uncertainty or difficulty, we can find solace and strength in our connection with God. Stress loses its power when you know who you are and who's walking with you. You are strong, capable, and loved. And God is with you every step of the way. Thank you for watching.